My brothers and sisters, this is Brother West coming back to you again. I have another revelation. I have a revelation of God gave me a revelation concerning many of you, and it's concerning a breaking. It's concerning energy. It's concerning energy. And in this energy, it's concerning energy being connected. When two things are connected, there's a connection, there's energy. But there's some that's listening to me. There's a connection that you do have, but in this connection, there is friction. There's friction. There's contention. There's stress. There's warfares. Through this connection, through the energy, this energy that you connected to. And see, but what God is wanting you to do, God wants you to disconnect. I hear him as clear as day. God wants you to disconnect to anything that has bad energy. Because anything that has bad energy, or when there's when a connection is wrong, there could be a short out. When there's a bad connection, there can also be created, a fire can be created from something that's not connected properly, if it's not connected properly. And so many of you that listen to me, the connection that you have is not connected properly. That's just like something being sealed. Say, for example, it's like some meat or some vegetables or some fruit. Now, when you get this fruit from the store, you put it in this container, right? And this container, and the container has to be sealed properly. The container has to be sealed properly, because if that container isn't sealed properly, what's inside of that container will rotten and spoil. And what has happened to many of your connections, or the bad connection or the friction connection, because the connection wasn't connected properly, the cover, because in the connection also there's a cover where two things are connected. The cover also in the connection, also when wires are connected, also to protect the wires from being seen or from being exposed to water, from elements. There's something that is covered that protects where you can't see the water, or where you can't see the wires. And so what I'm saying is, there is a bad connection. There's a bad connection that you need to break. And the reason why you need to break this, because of what I've been talking about, God drawing you out. God, like he drew out Moses. Pharaoh's daughter drew Moses out of the river Nile. And how God is holding things back. We're being held back to be blessed. We're being held back to receive certain things. And there's a sifting, there's a separation, there's a cutting. If you notice, in a separation, and I use this example, and I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna try to tie this up. I use Jacob. Jacob, he wrestled with an angel all night. He was alone. First of all, he was alone. At this place, he was alone. And at this place where he was alone, he wrestled with this angel all night. And when his angel saw that it was about daybreak, the angel told him to let him go, but he said, we won't let him go until you bless him. But then he touched his thigh. There's a few things that happened from that encounter with that angel. When that angel touched his thigh, it caused his joint to get out of socket, which caused pain. Also with separation, also it being the presence of God, there's going to come pain. There's going to come a separation. There's going to come a separation, but in that separation, there's going to come pain. But that pain is the separation of you separating for certain things. Also, pain is actually weakness living the body. Because oftentimes, there's things that when the pain is the most severe, oftentimes that's the pain that's leaving, that's walking out, that's being released from the Bible, being released from the Bible, from the body. And so that's why the pain is there. And so there's a tearing, there's a pull, and this is why the pain, and this is why the torment, and this is why the hurt is so bad, and the fight and the warfare mentally, in your mindset, your anxieties, your fears, All those things, the reason why all those things are loud and powerful and it feels like they're boisterous because it's on its last stand. Anything that's at home, say for example, you got somebody come and move in your house or live in your house, so they're going to be in your house for a week, but they end up, they there a year. And so they're there a year, and so now, in order to get them out, you got to go by the law. And you got to, you got to file or whatever, and it takes, 30 days or 45 days. And even in that, they ain't going to want to leave, especially when somebody ain't going to want to leave. They're going to do everything they can to stay. They're going to make things as difficult if they can to stay. They don't want to leave. It's not their house, but they intruded. And out of your kindness, you allowed them to stay. But now that you allowed them to stay, it went from being grateful to being ungrateful. And so some of you that listen to me, there are things, there are situations, there are spirits, there are personalities that has been into your life, that's been in your life, that's ungrateful. It is time to cut ties. It is time to separate. Separate the wheat from the chaff, because this is a season of separation. And so you better separate, because if you don't, God didn't intend for this thing to go with you. If you allow it to stay, it's going to torment it. Just like when the children of Israel, when it was time to receive their promise, their land, very few drove the enemy out. Most of them allowed them to stay because of fear, because of emotions, because of spiritual fornication, the exchange of merchandise goods, hustling, making money, getting paid, all that trickery, all that. And so they allowed them to stay. And so God said, you allowed them to stay. And so because you allowed them to stay, your enemy, because it was intent for you to drive them out, but because you allowed them to stay, they're going to beat you. They're going to be a stickle in your eye, and they're going to beat you. They're going to torment you until you drive them out. And so this is the word for somebody that listen to me. There's certain things that's going to keep beating you. There's certain things that'll keep sticking you. There's certain things that are going to keep beating you. There's certain things that will keep tormenting you until you separate, until you say enough, until you resist it, until you block it. There's certain things that God wants you to cut. Just like with leaves, when trees are growing, when those trees begin to grow wild, and when those trees begin to grow out too much, you must get the hedge clippers. Got to get them hedge clippers, and you got to cut it back. And so the reason why you're cutting it back, because it's going to help it grow. If you just let it become wild, that's going to stunt its growth. It's not going to grow right. It's not going to look right. It's not going to look good. And so it's got to be cut back. And so many of you in your life, there's things in your life got to be cut back. Certain things got to be cut off and cut back, that it might grow. And because if you allow it to just do what it want to do and just grow any kind of way, it's not going to be appealing, and it's not going to grow properly. And matter of fact, it's going to stunt the very growth that you're trying to cause or create it to grow in. And so God is saying cut. God is saying cut and come to him. Cut and come to him. But also with Jacob, God changed his name from Israel. And but also with the pain, also there's something else happened with the pain. His walk changed. That pain, that limp, it made him walk different. It made him move different because of the encounter. And many of you face something. You face an encounter that left you a certain kind of way. It injured you a certain kind of way. But in that injury, in that pain, in that encounter, it's changed your walk. It's changed your views. It's changed your focus. It's changed how you view things. It changed how you deal with people. It changed how you deal with God. And so those are my words that I wanted to speak into you this day. God bless you. And I got to go.